ready?
And we can.
Well,
It's
recording.
Yeah, it is. Would you like to just get into it, or do you want to just settle in? Get comfortable.
We can settle.
So, I don't know.
Are you gonna be hungry after this?
Hungry? Probably. I didn't eat dinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had Moe's. Sorry, around 3 o'clock.
Moe's Fun. What's your go-to Moe's order?
I don't go there very often, but I got the it was like Chipotle Ranch chicken quesadilla. It was
excellent.
I was hoping it'd be better than it was, but it wasn't.
Right. They got some okay quesadillas. I haven't been in a long time. But welcome back to the Pulp Diction podcast.
Thank you for having. Oh wait. All right, redo.
It's all right. Redo.
Just cut that.
Oh, of course. Welcome to Pulp Diction, the podcast where I talk about movies with my friends for an academic obligation. Welcome back to the Pulp Diction podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Gibson. Who am I here with?
I'm Drew Orrock, and thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure, Drew. And would you like to...
It's a privilege to be here.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, people are so honored to be in the pod.
It's like, I've heard it's more listened to than the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh yeah. We're doing some real numbers. Like, I think hopefully soon we'll beat Haley Welch. I don't know if we can though.
I mean, this is good. It's no talk to her, but
it's no talk to her, but like what is? And would you like to introduce the film we will be discussing today?
Alright, today we'll be discussing Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Indeed we will. I'm not sure what year this came out. Yeah, could you pull that up, Jamie?
2000 something.
Yeah, like early 2010s, late aughts.
Yeah, 2010. 2010,
okay. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, released 2010, directed by Edgar Wright, starring Michael Cera. And it's about this dude, Scott Pilgrim. He wants to date this girl, Ramona, but he has to go through her 7 evil exes before he can get to her, basically. And it's a quite entertaining film.
It is very fun.
Very fun. And what would you say? What led you to suggest this film for our discussion?
I'd say it's one of my favorite movies. I like it. It's like. It's weird, but it's fun. It's very
much a quirky movie, I think.
Yeah, there's some, like, cringy parts, but...
Yeah, and...
That's what makes it what it is.
Yeah, I don't like the word quirky, because it's... things are described as quirky. Yeah, it has a connotation. Just kind of, hee, I'm so silly, random. And, like, this is a quirky movie, but I think there's a very fine line between good quirky and bad quirky.
Yeah, and this doesn't overdo it.
I don't think it steps into bad quirky, like, at all.
It, like, has its own style.
It's very charming, very stylistic, yeah. And, like, there are not a lot of movies that look like Scott Pilgrim does.
Yeah.
It's basically a comic book, just, like, in
it takes
movie
lots of
form.
Visual elements.
Right, there's a lot of visual elements from comic book, like the onomatopoeia on screen. Like you hear a doorbell, it goes ding dong, pow bang, that sort of thing. And it's just like I wanted to take more notes on this movie than I did. I usually take a lot more than this is still a decent amount, but I just did not want to like tear my eyes away from the screen at all. Like every frame is just a visual feast, you know? Yeah, there are a lot of comic book elements to it, not just in the visuals, I'd say, but it is a lot in the visuals. Like he plays with the aspect ratio, some split screen parts, that sort of thing, words on the screen, and just the I think exaggerated nature of it all.
Yeah, like the characters are very kind of like caricatures, but like in a good way.
Yeah, like everything's very exaggerated, especially like once you cross that threshold of Matthew Patel attacking, because like up to that point an uneducated viewer would not guess that this is like what this movie is going to turn into. They think, oh, it's just like a cheesy little do-com with
like
a really
love story,
with a really unique like... visual style. And you do hear stuff like she's what do they say, like she murdered people or something, she fought them, she's brutal. And you're kind of left to, like, someone would assume they're speaking metaphorically, but it's not at all metaphorical. It's very much like people die around her.
Yeah. Can I see what you have in your notes?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure I remember a whole lot of it, what I wrote down. But I do like the comic book aesthetic this movie has going on. And Edgar Wright kind of has that in all his movies as a director. I don't know if you've seen any of his other movies. But he did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
I've seen that.
Yeah, Baby Driver.
I've been meaning to watch it, but
that one's really fun. And all his movies just have this fun comic booky type style about them. This one the most comic booky out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere when he was pitching the movie, he used panels from the comic book like as storyboards when he was showing people like what he wanted this to look like.
Makes sense. Yeah,
right. But like I feel like I've always felt like filmmakers can learn a lot from comic books, just like as a medium. Like they have to, well, when someone's making a comic book, they have to think like, who's going to be in this panel? Is it a little panel, big panel?
Yeah.
Do we include one character, two characters, no characters? Who's talking? Who isn't talking? That's all this decision making they have to do.
Yeah,
and I think
not to interrupt, but like even going off the comic book, like the pacing, because I remember one scene. Scott orders something off Amazon, and he's just waiting, and then like a second later, the doorbell rings.
Yeah.
And so it's like in between comics, it'd just be like to the next panel.
The next panel or the next
like
page.
That in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And like you have the title cards, I guess, like later or a few days. Which some of those, I'm not sure I remember any of the specific ones, but those were very funny.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and the whole movie is funny. Like, it is just packed with joke after joke, and I don't think it misses many of them, if any. I'm not sure. Would you say?
Yeah, there's some funny jokes in there.
Would you say it misses any of its gags, or?
There's none that come to mind.
Yeah,
really.
me neither. Do you have a favorite joke in the movie?
Favorite joke? That's a tough question.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of sprung that on you. I like a lot of Wallace's lines are really funny.
Oh yeah, Wallace.
The gay
is fun.
roommate,
yeah.
Kieran Culkin plays that. Is that a moth?
I don't know what it is. It's huge.
Yeah. Kieran Culkin's a fun character. I like when Knives is visiting their little room, and she asks if Scott is there, and he closes the door a little bit. He goes, and he jumps out the window.
Yeah.
He just left. That's really funny. And just all these little things.
I like the jokes where Scott and Wallace have to share a bed, and like Scott will wake up and Wallace sits up and talks to him, and then
it's like
another dude sits up.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
like it just works, and I really appreciate that.
Like how you wrote quirky in pencil. To make
yeah,
it look quirky.
I wanted. Well, yeah, no, that was just because I remembered it after I printed it, and I wanted to make sure I brought it up. What else was I think? Oh yeah, so yeah, Edgar Wright is one of these directors that just understands like the aesthetic a comic book movie should have. Even if like some movies I'd classify as comic book movies aren't like based on a comic book, but they have that sort of aesthetic where like every shot is almost like a panel in a comic.
Then some comic book movies, like Marvel movies, they
don't have that.
Yeah, they're just completely different. They only tell the story.
I really wish. I mean, Marvel movies kind of are a style of their own, for better or worse. Sometimes they allow directors to have a little more freedom, like with Doctor Strange 2 and Sam Raimi, but for the most part, it's very just limited. Like it's the studio's more like the director than the director is.
Yeah, just because they want to make money off it. Like they're not looking for a good movie.
Right, they're designed products rather than created, I suppose. But yeah, like this movie isn't one that I would describe as that at all. It very much has its own voice.
Yeah, very filled with passion.
Yeah, a lot of passion behind it, and I think that passion like bleeds through, and we feel some of that. I haven't read the source material.
Neither have I.
But
have you watched that new show they made?
I've not. I was gonna ask. Have you?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, I want to watch it now though.
Yeah, they brought back the entire cast.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
I heard it like focuses more on Ramona.
I have too, which I would be interested to see that because, I mean, I guess it would be a little not boring if it was just an animated version of the movie,
Yeah.
but I do appreciate that they supposedly did something different.
I think it's cool that they lean into her more, because like her background isn't really explained in the movie, just that like she moved there from New York or something.
Right, yeah, and they do have like the little flashback sequences animated in the comic book style. Someone's watching. Oh, Tucker's
watching One Piece.
Oh,
Which arc's he on? Oh, he's on Thriller Bark.
Thriller Bark. Where is that in the
It's
show?
like probably a bit before the halfway point.
Oh, so he's getting there. He's
Yeah.
getting there.
But back to the
But yes.
back to the thing.
Where were we? Yeah, all our viewers, our many viewers and listeners at home, we're on the back porch right now,
Yeah,
actually.
we can see the TV through the window.
Yeah, and Tucker, seen in the Deadpool episode,
Oh.
is watching One Piece now.
Mhm.
And yeah, what were we just saying? Like the aesthetic of this movie and comic book movies. And I think there are some, like a few directors that do just kind of understand the look that comic book movies should have, like Edgar Wright. I'd say Matthew Vaughn, who did like X-Men First Class, Kingsman.
I think I've seen either of those. I might have
yeah.
seen X-Men, actually. I don't know.
Matthew Vaughn. I think I wrote some. I think Tarantino can kind of do that, like with Kill Bill. He did. Sam Raimi definitely did with the original Spider-Man movies.
Oh, yeah.
And Evil Dead and all those. Darkman. That's a great, very underseen superhero movie. It's kind of silly, but
I haven't seen it.
I like it.
I nodded.
No, I do that too. I said Chad Stahelski, who he did the John Wick movies, and those are very much like, I've always said those are the most comic book movies that aren't comic book movies. John Wick, because like just look at the lighting and just how every shot is framed, looks like
very intentional, and like looks like it could be a still
it's
frame.
very stylized. And yeah, I adore any movie that can pull off that stylized type look. Oh, I liked like when they were at the beginning of the movie, as you get introduced to every character, there's like a little profile that pops up next to them, like their
says,
names.
like their name and their age.
Yeah,
that's fun.
And I liked when Wallace came up. It just had a rating 7.5 out of 10. Like it doesn't say what the rating is, what it's rating about him, just that it's rating him.
He's a 7.5.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I kind of wish I'd written down some more of the little profiles, but like there's just so much in this movie that like you will not notice on a first watch or even a second. I don't know how many times I've seen this at this point.
I've seen it twice. No, actually 3 times.
I mean, and it's very rewatchable, and it's like it's about 2 hours long. It doesn't feel like it at all, I don't think. It's just so fun. You know, a movie doesn't really have to be anything more than when it's fun enough, right? But I feel like it, in a way, it kind of is. Like, it has a good message to it, right? I mean, like, what was your main takeaway from the movie, like, in terms of message?
Can't really think of one.
Right. I like. Did you watch the movie?
Embraces who he is, I guess.
Right. Did you watch the movie again before we did this?
I watched it like 2 weeks ago, but I only probably watched like 2/3 of it.
That's good enough. The whole movie builds up to him, and he finally is able to say he's in love with Ramona. Towards the end, he gains the power of love with the sword. So he gets that, and then he gains the power of self-respect, right? Like, he kind of has not a self-loathing nature about him, but
but like he thinks a lot about his ex. One of the jokes I remember that was really funny, I forget where he is, but what was her name? Was it like Envy? Yeah, he sees Envy out
Brie
in public.
Larson.
And she's like, "Oh, your hair's looking shaggy," which in an earlier scene he was like concerned about. And then the camera cuts back to him and he's a hat on. He's like, "Oh, is it?"
That's one of my favorite running gags in the movie. Every time someone says his hair's shaggy, it just cuts to him and he has that. Because it happens towards the end too, when Knives says the same thing, and that's always really funny. And of course, she pulls the hat off towards the end. Like, she appreciates who he is.
She likes him for who he is.
Yeah. Which, do you think he should have ended up with Knives, or do you think Ramona was the right choice?
I mean, Knives is a high schooler.
Yeah. So that's pretty bad. And do you think Scott's a bad person?
I think he's a good guy. Although
he's a good guy. Good guy does some bad things.
Yeah, makes some wrong choices, but
like it's not okay for how old is he? 22-ish.
I think so.
Give or take. Yeah, he should not have been dating a high schooler. But
he was.
He was. And they didn't go anywhere. Like, they didn't even hold hands. He was kind of just doing it to feel better about himself.
Yeah.
More than he was to, like, get something out of it.
Yeah. Get lucky.
Yeah, get lucky.
Then he tries to set Wallace up with a high schooler.
Did he?
Yeah, they're, like, waiting outside school for knives to get out. And Wallace is looking at for if there are any gay dudes there.
Oh, that's right. But
maybe Wallace is the bad guy.
Wallace he's just silly. Scott does say something about the double standard.
Oh, yeah.
And like maybe it is just different for gay guys. I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
I would not know. I'm unfamiliar with the community. But as nice as it seems.
And even just on Wallace being gay, they don't, like, overdo it.
No, not
because,
at
like,
all.
they do it as a joke, but he doesn't, like... It's not like the annoying, flamboyant gay
Yeah.
character. It's just, like, he is gay. And, like,
he is gay. That's just who he is. That's a good point.
He's kind of witty, but he's not, like...
Yeah.
Like, if you know what I mean.
He's not fiery, you know?
Yeah, he's not feisty.
Feisty, yeah. Uh-oh. I should turn my ringer off, probably. But yeah, Wallace is a really good and they don't overdo it on the gay thing. And I feel like being gay is never in itself the joke.
Yeah.
Like, it would be very easy to make it. Like, the joke is that he's gay.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the joke is more like he's gay and Scott is his roommate.
And they, like, share a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all these shenanigans and silly goings on. And it goes back to the quirky thing. Like, it's a quirky movie, but again, it doesn't overdo it.
Yeah. It knows its place.
Yeah. I liked the use of when young Neil is playing Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
And like all the sounds
I think his
coming
name's
from that.
Young Neil is really funny.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then towards the end when he goes, from henceforth you shall be known as Neil. And
more personal growth.
It's very silly. And he's able to admit there too, like the band sounds better with Neil than it did with him. Which is very big of him. And he's able to make amends with all these people because he's wronged a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like women mainly.
Like Knives.
Oh shoot, what was her name? I feel really bad.
The drummer girl. I forget, did he date her at some point?
Yeah, he dated her at some point, like before the movie.
Yeah, and then she like hates him.
Yeah.
Or like she's very mean to him.
Yeah, she's very mean to him until like towards the end he's finally like, I'm sorry, I wronged you, and I keep acting like it's fine, but it's not fine. And I feel really bad for not remembering her name. Maybe I'm just sexist. I don't know.
What was her name?
I don't know. It's gonna bother me now. But she did a really good... the actor did a really good job because you have these little moments where he's saying like, yeah, I dated her, but she's fine now. It didn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
And like she has this brief moment that means so much because she just looks down and you can see like it meant something to her, right? And it probably meant something to him at one point. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah. Or he's trying to like block that out, kind of.
Right. Which, like, I think it's very easy to do that if you... Kim. That's right. It's very easy to like block that out and pretend like it didn't matter, it never meant anything if you have dated somebody. But like, I don't know, I feel like the message that's trying to say is like, even if it's over, it did matter at some point, and that shouldn't just be ignored, you know? Not that I have like a terribly large amount of dating experience.
No 7 evil exes.
No 7 evil exes. What would you think if you were in that scenario, like Dream Girl, but you have to fight 7 evil exes?
If it's Dream Girl, then probably.
Yeah.
They're not 7 evil boyfriends, 7 evil exes.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good gag joke, too.
Whenever he says like you have 7 evil boyfriends, and then she's like exes.
Yeah, and he's finally like, why do you keep saying that? And then she like kicks him in the back of the head or something. which it was really so the actress who played that ex, Roxy, I believe. Have you seen Arrested Development?
I've not, no.
So
I've heard good things.
It's an excellent show. In that show, that actress played Anne, who dates George Michael, which is Michael Cera's character.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And throughout that whole it's such a funny gag, because the dad is always like, why aren't you her? Like, he doesn't remember who she is.
Oh, yeah.
He gets her name wrong, all this stuff. And it's quite silly. There's one really good joke from that show. There are so many really good jokes, but there's one. He's
the camera say?
Oh.
Did say change the battery?
Does it?
Is it still recording?
It is, but yeah, the battery will be running out soon. I'm gonna grab the spare. I forgot to charge these last night. Anything interesting in there?
Oh yeah, I do like this joke. You know,
Which
the
one
one
is
girl
it?
with hair like this, and it's just like a little scribble
Yeah,
drawing,
it's just
and
a
everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Ramona Flowers.
Yeah. That's Ramona Flowers. And then he has like the whole backstory on her too.
Mm-hmm. Like everyone just knows who she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Aubrey Plaza's character too is like, don't date Ramona Flowers.
Oh yeah.
And she's great. The entire cast for this movie is like insanely good. And that's why they brought the entire cast back for the Netflix show, I think, because
is Chris Evans in it? I remember he was one of the exes.
Yeah, I think they got him back.
He was like the actor guy.
Yeah, Lucas Lee, who I want to have his adopted babies, as in the words of Wallace. Not my words, but no. Yeah, they're all like just everyone is casted perfectly in this movie. Michael Cera especially, but also
he really fits that role well. Of like the awkward, kind of like lanky guy.
Which like he does kind of play the same role in almost every movie.
But he was like made for this one.
Yeah, like he does it very well. He even does it in Arrested Development. But yeah, he's great at it. I like. Yeah, all the exes are cast really well. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think, is her name, who plays Ramona. She's married to Ewan McGregor, I believe. But yeah, who would you say your favorite of the evil exes is?
Favorite? Probably whoever Chris Evans plays. I forget his name in it, but I like how he dies by trying to do the skateboard trick.
Yeah, it's really good because it has like the multiplier, right, with the from a video game. And
then he just like falls at the end, and all the coins come out.
It's a giant explosion.
Yeah,
yeah. No, he's really fun. His entrance too, with like the Universal theme, and he cracks his neck on beat.
And then all his stunt doubles beat up Scott.
These are my stunt team. What would I be without them?
Forget, are some of them like different races? I feel like there's like an Asian
one or
something.
I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like that's one of the gags.
That would be funny. And I like when he like asks them if they want coffee or anything, and they all just answer in the same voice. Like it's all just Chris Evans. Yeah, he's probably my favorite. But like they're all great.
And I like how all the X's explode into coins when they die.
Yeah, again,
and then the
like,
first one, Scott like bends down and picks him up off the ground.
Coins, yeah, like which again goes back to the video game visuals, but it also like, I don't know, it's fun, and how it like the amount progressively gets higher with everyone, like 1,000, 2,000, and
then like at the very end, it's raining coins.
It's like 7 million, billion. I think it's a billion. The only X's I didn't love were the twins that they fight in like the Battle of the Bands.
I don't remember them.
It was exactly like they're like the Japanese ones. It's the dragon, and then they start playing, and they make a big monster, and they start fighting each other, and it's pretty cool. But it's like, I don't know, the characters themselves just aren't all that memorable. Which I don't know if they fleshed them out more in the Netflix show. And then the first one was Matthew Patel. That was really, I guess they shot that like that was supposed to be in the style of like a Bollywood fight scene.
Yeah.
With like him doing the singing and just all the
over the top kind
of the silly whatever happening. And that's again the threshold of the movie where you find out like exactly what you're in for.
It's like when it flips.
Yeah. Like the fight scene just comes completely out of nowhere. Apparently How Edgar Wright viewed it was kind of, it's like a musical, except like how in a musical characters will randomly break out into song and dance, but these characters will randomly break out into a fight scene,
because like it goes from a band battle or whatever, like a band competition, and then he just starts fighting the dude.
Yeah, right. And then like in the crossfire, the opposing band gets murdered by a fireball, and that's the only reason they win. Which the song, all the gags like with the enemy band songs were really funny.
What
like,
were they?
There was this song is called "I'm So Sad, I'm So Very Sad," and you just say "so sad," and that's the only line of the song. And then like Kieran Culkin's character is heckling them from up top, and they go, "This one goes out to that guy. It's called 'We Hate You, Please Die.'"
Yeah, he's just like, "We hate you."
Yeah, those are. And Kim says it's like she's not shocked. She's pissed off. She's like, "They have a girl drummer."
Oh yeah,
and
it's like
every
a little
drummer,
Chinese girl.
Yeah, and every drummer in the movie is a girl. But yeah, there's Matthew Patel. I like how genuinely hurt he was when like Scott didn't read his email.
Yeah.
And then who was the second one? It was that Lucas?
I think that was the actor.
I think that was.
And then was it the girl next?
It might have been. Yeah, because it was Lucas Lee, and then I think the girl was after the third one.
Oh yeah, the vegan guy. I remember.
Todd.
And he got his powers.
Yeah, he got his. Basically, being vegan just makes you better than everyone else. Which this movie's so quotable. Like I know so many of the lines by heart at this point. But yeah, he does. That's another actor cast really well, Brandon Routh. And that's such a funny scene. I love the visuals, like when he freezes him and just the spiral, right? He knocks the highlights out of Knives' hair.
Oh yeah.
And then the vegan police get him. Kim asks him if he learned all that from Vegan Academy, and then you find out he really did go to Vegan Academy. In the backstory, you find out like Ramona says he punched a hole in the moon for her, and then later on you see the moon, and like you can see.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can see the hole. And so yeah, it was Todd, then the girl. Who I thought that was a good scene, the Ramona versus Roxy fight. And then the shot with I think the broken disco ball and the shards go down. You see the reflections of like her face, Ramona's face, and Scott's face.
I don't think I got that far when I watched it not that long ago.
Yeah, it's Roxy, and then it's the twins, and then Gideon. Yeah, and I love the like you can depending on which X it's on, like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. You can see like that number in the area as they're leading up to it. Almost like it's a video game, right? Like it's the level you're on. After Ramona like briefly breaks up with Scott because Gideon has like the mind control chip or whatever. He wears this shirt. It's like a Fantastic Four shirt, but it has like a 1/2 on it, like 4.5. Like he's gonna become the next Evil X, right?
Yeah.
Which she says like you're just another Evil X waiting to happen. Because like, and at that point in the story, he might have been, because like he's still not a great guy. And the whole movie's about him, like, becoming a better person than he was. But I also saw, like, earlier on in the movie, he had a shirt that said 0 on it. Like, he's not...
Like, he's no one, kinda?
Yeah, pretty much. And I feel like all the shirts Scott wears in the movie, or at least a lot of them, do mean something. Like, in the arcade, when he's first playing the fighting game with Knives... He has a shirt. It just has the Sharpie logo on it, which is kind of funny. Like, who wears a Sharpie shirt? But like honestly, I'd buy it actually. Yeah, but I feel like that was supposed to symbolize like he's gonna leave a permanent mark on her.
That makes sense on Knives.
Yeah, because like he does hurt her, and she gets over it at the end. She learns to live herself.
Does she date young Neil, or I guess just regular Neil at the end?
I don't know if she ended up with regular Neil at the end. She definitely did date him for a little bit just to get back at Scott, but I feel like they could have actually, like, become a thing. And that wouldn't have been weird because he's young.
Is he in high school?
I don't know, but he's a young Neil.
I don't remember.
So, I don't know, but it's fine, probably. Hopefully.
As long as the grades are touching.
True. Well, unless you're a certain...
I think he'd be upset.
Yeah. No, I won't name names.
Keep it on the DL.
I'll keep it on the DL.
What's this big paragraph you wrote?
What? Oh, that was just me talking about comic book movies again, which, yeah, we kind of went over at the beginning. Oh, again with the fighting game stuff. Every time, like, before a fight starts, Wallace says, like, Scott, whoever, fight. Kind of like the announcer in a fighting game that goes, fight.
Yeah.
And then before he goes off to fight Gideon, Wallace tells him finish him as the Mortal Kombat guy, yeah. Like so famously announces. I mentioned the Legend of Zelda stuff.
Like a lot of pop culture references.
Yeah, so many. And
like I like Scott's pickup line explaining Pac-Man's name.
Yeah.
How it wasn't Puck-Man.
It was originally Puck-Man, but they figured people would scratch it out. Yeah. And he just pulls
I like how he used that on both Knives and Ramona.
Yeah, it's like his go-to. And I didn't notice this. I only saw this in the IMDb trivia page. But, you know, when he's like, when the wheel's spinning in his head, and then it like lands between I gotta go and then I gotta pee, or her and I gotta pee, and it lands in the middle. He goes, I gotta pee on her. Apparently somewhere on that wheel it said, tell Pac-Man story. So I guess that's just like funny. One of his default conversation options. But yeah, like it plays the when Knives first shows up, or maybe it was one of those Legend of Zelda sounds.
At some point, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he uses a lot of those, like kind of a what's the word? The type of music that diegetic sound that is like in the world, but it's also like you're hearing it. And I was surprised they were able to swing that, because Nintendo is like notoriously
they're like really
dickish about their rights,
copyrights and everything.
But I guess Edgar Wright wrote a letter or something that was like the Legend of Zelda theme is like the lullaby of this generation or something, the nursery rhyme, something like that, which like it is basically that iconic.
Yeah, it's like very recognizable.
Yeah. And I almost wonder, like, does it foreshadow the journey Scott 2 will go on? Like
maybe
this fantastical
his
adventure.
Own legend.
Yeah, right. The Legend of Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, we talked about envy a little bit. Like, Scott, you kind of have these hints towards what their relationship was like. Like, I hearted them too until they signed with a major label and the lead singer turned into a total bitch and ruined my life forever. I do almost wonder if that's foreshadowing, like, what could happen if they sign with a major label.
Yeah.
Like, because, what's his name? The lead band guy is trying to get with G-Man the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, it's like why they go to all the parties, right? Because
right.
Like, oh, well, G-Man will
Maybe
be there.
G-Man will be there.
Little G-Man will be there.
And you get these hints at G-Man and these hints at Gideon until you find out they're the same person, finally. Which he's another character, like, perfectly cast. It was Jason Schwartzman, I think. Who's been in a lot of Wes Anderson movies, I believe. I thought he had he has some fun lines, too, like, you made me swallow my gum. That's gonna be in my digestive tract for 7 years.
Did you write that one down?
I did not, I just remember that. That's Off the Dome, baby.
I don't remember him much, probably because the last time I saw that part was, like, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And there are just a lot of, like, little details I noticed, like, with all the Legend of Zelda stuff, and, like, just, there are a lot of hidden X's, like, where Scott's going down the road, and the snow's, like, it makes an X, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
There's an X on his coat, like an X-Man logo or something. And just a lot of other little details. And that's another thing I love about Edgar Wright, is you can watch these movies and find so many of these just little details.
Yeah, just takes you like many watches to see.
Yeah, like you'll watch it 5 times and still keep noticing something new about it. Because it's just so dense with everything going on. So I am glad the movie's not longer than it is, because I feel like if it was, like,
it could be like too stretched out.
It's too much of a good thing. And I think it is a perfect length as it is.
How long is it? Like
about 2 hours, a little under.
But like they do it good because most like the X fights, they're like close to each other, but it's not like one right after the other.
Yeah, they give you enough time between fight scenes to kind of settle down, take a breather. Like, it's not constant action, which I love. Certain things like John Wick, Chapter 4 particularly, are basically constant action.
Yeah, it's just like he keeps killing people, but this like gives you time to like learn more about the characters.
Like, you need to have those moments in between, just to settle down, to build character.
Yeah,
all that fun storytelling stuff. I love all the music scenes in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whenever the band's playing, whenever another band is playing. I think my favorite one was when they're doing Black Sheep with Brie Larson singing. It's when Envy is on stage, right before the Todd fight. And like you have as the lights like flash, you have these cuts.
It brings like a lot of energy to it.
Yeah,
you can feel the music.
A lot of kinetic, like it's a lot of kinetic type energy, and like it's such a creative way that they do it to show like who's making eye contact with whom.
Yeah, and even like in the beginning when they're playing the first song or whatever, and Knives is on the couch and she's just like captivated in it.
Yeah, she literally has
like the audience.
Yeah, and it was either like stars or hearts in her eyes, like the glint, which was really funny. It's like an anime almost. I'm honestly not sure how I felt about like the big monster and the dragon fight. Like, it was fun, I guess. It was. I appreciated taking just a wild, just absolute out of left field swing like that, which is what a lot of this movie is. Like, things just kind of happen, and you kind of gotta go with the flow.
Also, it makes like each of the X fights unique.
Yeah,
like they all have their own kind of style.
Right, like no two fight scenes or no two scenes in general in the movie I think feel quite alike.
Yeah.
They all have a shtick, right? Like, Patel has the whole Bollywood thing going on. Lucas Lee, the whole Hollywood thing going on. Lucas Lee has the vegan powers. Not Lucas Lee.
What was his name?
Shoot, Todd. Todd has the vegan powers. Roxy is a girl.
Yeah.
That's when you get to see Ramona fight, though, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot of good, like, slow motion moments in that fight. The twins it's fine. It's big monsters fighting. And Gideon, you get the sword fight. And the 2v1. So that's pretty cool. What would you say your favorite fight in the movie was with Chris Evans?
Probably.
Yeah, same. Well, how about songs, though? Like, songs? I think the music is such a huge part of this movie. But, like, what would you say your favorite music piece?
I don't know any of the names of the songs.
Yeah, right.
I do like the opening one.
The opening's really good. Just like We Are Sex Bomb, I want to say, which is a funny name. Yeah. Sex Bomb, like it refers
like the guy from Mario.
The guy from Mario, yeah. It's very like, I hesitate to say millennial, but it's a pretty millennial movie.
Yeah.
In it, one of the few times I'll say millennial in a good way, rather
they
than,
did all right this time.
Yeah. They, a broken clock's right.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, like I said, I was a big fan of Black Sheep. I think the original artist was Metric, but I actually like the Brie Larson version better.
Is that the one where it's like, hello again, friend? Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's good.
So this was kind of a smaller music moment, but when you first meet Gideon and Ramona gets into his car, you hear Under My Thumb by the Rolling Stones playing from the car, which is kind of foreshadowing, like she's
mind control,
literally under his thumb. So that's a really nice touch.
And that's just more of like everything in that movie's intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's intentional. Like, that's how Edgar Wright is. Just every little piece is part of the puzzle, I guess. Yeah, it's all the details and his style that's just kinetic and constantly moving and keeping you engaged.
But, like, it's not too fast. It's, like, just the right pace.
Right, exactly. Like, there aren't a lot of directors, I think, that could have pulled it off. And honestly, there aren't a lot of movies that I'd say like the direction is in itself almost a character on its own that you, I don't know, just grow to love. But this is one of them. Yeah, let's see. Like I said, I wanted to take a lot more notes, but I just didn't want to look away.
Or should just like do a director's commentary of the film.
Yeah, just watch over it and Pulp Diction live. I liked
start live streaming, just watching movies.
That'd be fun. Yeah, and not even I won't even tell them what movie I'm watching. I'll just turn the camera on and like, oh wow, that just happened. I don't know.
Just try to have them figure it out, drop like hints or something.
Yeah, wow. This sure is a RoboCop 2. I don't know. I like when he says, "Here, let me get your coat," and then he just drops it on the floor.
Which part was that in?
That was like Wallace? That was like the very beginning. Scott takes Knives' coat when he's introducing her to the band. And I think I've gone over most of my notes. Wallace tells Knives, "You're too good for him, run." Which at first you kind of take for, oh, he's just being silly. He's just the silly gay guy. But, like, he definitely wasn't joking.
Yeah.
Like, he knows she is too innocent and good for Scott, who... And he sees it coming a mile away, like...
And, like, the whole time, Knives is trying to change herself. Like, she dyes her hair because she sees Ramona dyes her hair.
Right, yeah. And it kind of, that's another big message of the movie. Like, you can't try to change yourself for another person, you know?
Yeah, like with the shaggy hair on Scott.
Yeah, like that, and he puts the hat on, but it's like,
up.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be doing that. He's just got to be himself.
Yep.
Which is nice. I've gone over pretty much all my notes, so
may I?
You may.
Wallace seducing the boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Is that with Todd?
No, that was like at the Battle of the Bands before the first Evil X. It was Anna Kendrick's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who, like, you have these moments where like he's making eye contact with him, and then after the fight, she looks over and they're just furiously making out. And it's a whole other layer is added to it because she goes, "Again?" Because
isn't he like with multiple guys during the movie?
Yeah, there's a moment, like you mentioned, the bet when he's in bed with Scott.
Oh yeah.
And he lifts his head, and then
another guy, and he gets like a name card.
There was one where there were two guys in the bed with him.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, a game is game, you know.
I like how you put a note that you wanted to take more notes.
Yeah, because I mean I did, but you know. It is what it is. I don't know how long this has been going for, like 40 minutes, give or take.
Maybe. How long is an episode usually?
I try to go for at least 40 minutes, so we can keep going. I don't know if there's anything in particular you wanted to talk about regarding this movie.
You're the expert.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about the Ramona has 7 X's under a number, but that's like pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's another like little foreshadowing moment.
It's also kind of like Wallace helping Scott, or like kind of guiding him through it all, because like he didn't notice that at first, but then it was Wallace that pointed it out.
He's almost like the game's narrator if it's like a video game.
Again, with like the starting off the fight and then saying like finish him. It's like Wallace is the narrator.
Yeah, which is that's a cool little thing, because like, you know, when you start a game and there's a narrator telling you press A to jump, that sort of thing, go here. I feel like I asked all the questions I wanted to ask. Favorite Evil X, favorite song.
Who's your favorite character in the movie?
Oh, Wallace is definitely up there. Just because he's a funny dude. I kind of hesitate to say Scott,
just because he is the main character, but like
I mean, he is the most fleshed out and probably the most interesting. Like, he's just kind of pathetic, but in sort of an endearing way.
Yeah, like a charming way.
Yeah,
kinda.
like except for when he's like juggling two girls because he's too. He doesn't want to. I mean, it is almost. It's not relatable that he's juggling two girls at once, but it is like that he doesn't want to break up with her, not because he loves her, but because he just doesn't want to make her feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he just doesn't want to hurt people, but he does hurt people, and...
Yeah, like, in his attempt not to, he, like, does hurt them more.
He hurts them even more, yeah. Which, I don't know, I'm sure some people can relate to that struggle, and, like, Scott kind of denies it, like, oh, I don't hurt people, I'm fine, I'm doing A-okay, like with Kim, right?
Yeah.
But by the end, he finally accepts, like, I've done bad things to people, and he apologizes for that, and like he seeks forgiveness from like those he wronged as well as from himself, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like his own personal growth throughout the movie.
Yeah, he is definitely like the most improved by the end, and
also just because he is the main character.
Also because he is, and that's how
Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
That's how a movie works. I am curious to read the source material, like especially
when did that come out?
Like early 2000s, I want to say. I would like to know, like, I'm sure the movie's only like a fraction of the comic storyline,
probably. So
I'd like to know what happens afterwards.
Yeah, like at the start, Scott Pilgrim's dating a high schooler, and then like immediately everyone knows, or it's like, who is it? Someone calls someone else, and then Scott gets a call, and he's like, "Scott, you're dating a high schooler."
Yeah, like he'll tell Wallace something, and immediately Anna Kendrick will call him.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Scandal," and
yeah, it's more like the comic book, how it's like one panel to another.
Yeah. But, like, they're almost self-aware about it, too. Like, how did you get that so fast?
Yeah.
He's just like, you know me. Even when Wallace is asleep and he tells him he like, sleep texts Anna Kendrick's character. That's fun.
Is Anna Kendrick, is she the one with glasses?
No, that's Aubrey Plaza. Anna Kendrick is his sister, yeah.
Yeah. I like... what was her name? I already forgot it.
The
Plaza.
Glasses?
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah, I like how whenever she swears, it's like the censorship or whatever.
How are you doing that with your mouth?
Yeah.
He's like, never mind how I'm doing it. Yeah, it's really fun. Just so many gags, like, so genuinely creative in this movie. And I feel like one of the cheesier ones was he, like, grabs a 1-up and he goes, "I'm getting a life." But, like, I thought that was silly. It was
it's kind of corny.
Yeah, it's very corny, but...
That's how the movie is.
Yeah.
I think we went over
I think we've definitely covered all the notes.
Quirky good way.
Quirky good way.
Directors.
Yeah, I definitely listed some of those. Like, yeah, directors that can do a comic book movie aesthetic, like Edgar Wright, Sam Raimi, Tarantino, Matthew Vaughn, Chad Stahelski. Robert Rodriguez, but I haven't seen Sin City yet, but I've heard that does it very well. And then Spielberg, I wrote down can do it, but like I feel like his movies are so just inherently cinematic.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't really do them in a comic book form. You could do parts of them, but like it wouldn't translate the same way. Which like you couldn't with any of these. Like you can't really translate Edgar Wright's use of music into a comic book.
It can only go so far.
Right. But still, like, there are a lot of elements that do, like, the two mediums do share. And I do love movies, I love comic books, and I love video games. So, I don't know, it's like this movie was I'm very much the target audience.
Yeah. There's, like, a big overlap between the two mediums.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the visuals and the words... The dialogue, very dialogue focused, and action, all the fun stuff.
Just use like every form of, I guess, stimuli it can to tell the story, like the music, hearing, and then just like the visuals.
Yeah, well, that's what I love about movies. It's like it's this combination of all these different storytelling mediums.
Yeah, because like a regular book only uses words. Comic books is only like pictures and words, but this is like
it's pictures, words, sounds, music, which a comic book and even a book can write. Like it has the onomatopoeia, like boom,
but that
pow.
only goes so far. Like,
yeah,
you can't really picture a song in your head the same way.
Yeah, no, not at all. And like you can't, like you look at Baby Driver where he syncs up everything to a song. Like that just wouldn't happen the same way in a comic.
Yeah.
So this very much is like, I mean, most of Edgar Wright's movies are like this is a very just inherently cinematic. You couldn't really pull it off the same way.
You said he did Shaun of the Dead, though, right?
He did.
I feel like that could be a comic.
Oh,
I could very see
I
it.
definitely can, now that you say that. Have you seen Hot Fuzz at all?
I have not, no.
Yeah, it's kind of like an unofficial trilogy, because he does 3 movies. It's Edgar Wright directing Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And it's just 3 comedies, and they're not technically related.
But they're like loosely kind of.
Yeah, like, and he calls it the Cornetto trilogy because I guess over there in England they have this brand of ice cream called Cornetto, and like they're all represent. Cornetto ice cream is like featured at least a little bit in all 3 of those.
Is it?
Yeah, so there's kind of the recurring motif, and each one is like represented by a different flavor of Cornetto. Like red is horror, and that's Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Blue Cornetto, that's Hot Fuzz because police. And then green is like sci-fi, and that's The World's End. And those are some of my favorite movies too. Like I haven't seen a movie of his I don't like just
I
yet.
want to watch more of his.
Yeah, I haven't. I think the only one I haven't seen is like Last Night in Soho. But I don't know. Anything else to say about Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
It's good. I'd recommend it.
I would also recommend it.
I don't know. I feel like I could see it definitely like appeals to a certain audience though.
Definitely. Like
I could like I could see like people not liking it, but
right.
if you do like it, you'll love it.
I totally agree. Like I do feel like it's underappreciated. Like not enough people have seen this movie. And I wish more people had, because I adore it just so much. And yeah, like you said, I can understand why someone wouldn't like it. Like the style, it's very like if you like the style, then you're gonna like the whole movie. But if you're not like a fan of it right away, then
it's like
it's gonna be kind of a I don't know. I don't want to say bore, but I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it is a lot. And yeah, I'd recommend this to everybody, and nobody watches it, and it's very sad.
I think everyone should at least give it a try.
Oh, definitely.
It's like even me, when I first started it, like the first time seeing it, I kind of like was kind of put off by it, but then the second time
it grows on you.
Yeah, it grows on you definitely.
Yeah, Tucker actually watched this movie before I did. And he was like, "You have to watch this movie. You have to watch it." And that made me actively not want to watch the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you hate Tucker?
Yes, I despise him. Yeah, go ahead.
Is he still in there?
He's in there. He's watching the One Piece. Ooh.
They're about to defeat Gecko Mori.
Ooh. What a scary-looking character. But yeah, I finally did watch it at some point or another, and I'm like, okay, it was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that's about all we got, I believe. Thank you so much for tuning into the Pulp Diction podcast. Thank you, Drew, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. And remember to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications every time there's a new pod or a new like little short thing like I did for Halloween. I did a little top 5.
Oh, did you?
I don't think I posted it on Instagram, but yeah, we're on Instagram also. Follow on Instagram. Hit us with one of those. We're on Spotify. Follow us on Spotify. Rate 5 stars, please. And that's about all I got. Would you like to plug anything?
Follow me on Instagram, I guess.
Heck yeah.
DOrock13.
And yeah.
Bye.